like crap, but whatever.
Oh, me too. I was just thinking, I wish I could turn my video off. You look fine. Yeah, say that one more time if you don't mind.
With the right knowledge and strategy to change what previously seemed impossible becomes rather straightforward and possible.
Exactly.
Then he follows it on the next page with living an entrepreneurial lifestyle becomes thinking of 2 ideas per day,
Yes.
amongst other things, right?
I love that.
Yeah, I highlighted that part.
And I love, that when he says that when you repeated failure, the problem isn't you, it's with your strategy.
Right.
Yep.
You need to change
I
your strategy.
highlighted that one too.
So yeah, he broke it down like the book is divided basically into 2 halves. The first 3 parts discuss the habit building, the brain, the willpower, motivation, and how they relate to each other.
Right.
And then the next 2 parts discuss the logical and scientific conclusions about how to best utilize it. And the last part shows you how to apply it. So it all comes together. And the 6th chapter is really long. So we might, talk about maybe 2 more next time or whatever y'all are comfortable with.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like we can just kind of like bounce off each other if y'all want to keep just, bringing up anything that really stood out to you. We were talking about the push-up thing, April, right before you joined.
Yes.
Golden push-up, yeah. Like, so how he made such a small goal that you can't fail. So
right.
It seems stupid, right? Like it seems crazy, but you can always do more, but you can never do less. So if you're already like in the position to do a push-up, you're not going to do just one. You're going to do like 5 or 10, however many you can do, but you can never do less.
Right.
And I loved the part where he said that, where is that? How it can actually harm your self-confidence when you fail. So it's like, that's why.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was about to say. I have on page 11.
Yep. And Kimmy had just mentioned that part about how a little bit each day has the ability to grow into a lifelong foundation habit. That's so true. I love how it comes in later chapters, but how he was saying that, what do people normally say? Do something for 22 days and that forms a habit.
Oh yeah, the whole 21 days versus 30 days versus no.
Yeah, he said, I don't know where they get that from because that's rubbish. It depends on what you're trying to form, but the average is like 66 days. And that's so true because I've done the diet for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I'm like, I could still just.
I've done your diet several times.
Yeah, like it's so easy to just go like have a weak moment and not motivated and I'm sad and I'm just going to eat a cheeseburger today.
Especially when you don't see quick results. That's when you kind of like get out of it.
Yep. That's right. And I love how he talks about doing a little bit each day has a greater impact than doing a whole lot in one day. And, we talk about it all the time, like breaking down your goals into little like little things. Like instead of saying, I need to make a list of 100, today I'm going to make a list.
Break it 10.
Yeah.
And I like how you said the many habits use less energy or doesn't take a whole lot of willpower to force ourselves to do something.
That's right.
I like the comment on 23. Stress has been shown to increase habitual behavior for better or for worse. Yeah, definitely the part about how long does it take it. I like that.
Yeah, I love that too.
And missing a day. Here's the thing that really got me is that he says building a habit is a daily thing, right? It's repetition. But the note is that missing one day does not derail a habit.
Exactly.
Right.
Which follows through with his willpower talk in chapter 3.
Yep. I took so many notes, like reading through.
If you repeat it, you won't forget
Yeah.
it. I like that. That was funny
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you just don't know, buddy. You don't live in my brain.
Right.
I try to apply this book to me doing laundry.
That's a good. Hey, that's a good one. That was a good one because I automatically thought about like
I
exercise
hate
stuff
laundry.
or-
It's never ending.
No, that's a good one. So what kind of mini habit are you thinking you could form with doing laundry?
Like
I need to know.
doing one load a day, and
Mhm.
like instead of just like letting the clothes sit in that basket, if I do a small load a day, then it'll be easier for me to go through that basket and hang it up or put it away instead of doing like huge loads at one time, because you're less likely to put those loads away if you see the monstrous amount of laundry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm staring at a pile of laundry right in front of me right now.
I hate laundry.
I hate it too. I hate
I
folding it.
love to
It
wear
smells
my
good.
clothes, but I hate the after part.
Yes, that's a good habit because you're probably so if you make sure you're going to do at least one load a day, you're not going to do less. You'll
Right.
end up doing like all of it, in a couple of days.
Right. Right.
That's a good one. I need to try that.
Or you pick a day to do laundry. Like Charles does laundry on Tuesdays and Fridays around here. Every Tuesday that washer's running,
Okay.
and every Friday it's running.
And he's just like on autopilot, probably like Tuesday comes.
He is. It's like he's got that timing down in his brain now. How long it takes each one of them to run, and he's in there swapping them the minute they.
Yep. I like that. That's a good one. I was thinking, like since he talked about exercise so much, I was thinking about exercise. And my cousin Jamie is like on an exercise kick and like wants to improve, and be able to do a pull up. And that really intrigued me because I've never been able to do a pull up in my life. Like some people are born with the, the bright muscles already, like I've just never been able to do a pull up. And I never really worked my arm muscles or whatever. And she's been working on her arms and legs and everything for a long time. And
I need to work on my arms.
Yeah, me too. And like she's still like, I still can't do a push-up. So she like really researched it and she's the Google queen. So she finally figured out she needed to work on her lats. And so she worked on her lats 3 times a week. And the other day she sent me a video of herself doing a push-up. And a pull-up. And I was like, holy crap. That's so cool. So I've actually worked on my lats 3 times this week. And I figured out ways you can do it at home too. So I was like, that's a good mini.
I need to do something. Because I've got a lot of skin just kind of like jiggling. I've got bat wings. I need to do something. Tone my arms off.
His phone went off. I'll be right back.
Okay. And I've always joked on my arms because I have like extra.
Since I've lost a lot of weight.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we could do little mini habits with like push-ups.
Since I lost a lot of weight, them arms seems to help.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You look so good though.
Well, he says in the book that habit of exercising 20 minutes a day is enough to change your physique.
Right? And I was like, wait, okay, I can do that. I can do 20 minutes a day.
Right. Maybe that's why I started back cooking in my weight loss. Like I've hit a plateau, but it's starting to change a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe this book will give you like some insight on like different ways you can push through. I love that when he did the push-up challenge and he forgot one day, and so he turned over in bed and did a push-up in bed, so he didn't miss that day.
So he didn't miss it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As silly as that sounds, like that was important to him. That kept him on a roll, And I think that is a thing. Like that's
right.
It affects your self-confidence, and you don't want to miss a day, so you're not going to miss a single one, no matter whether you're just doing folding a rag or something. You're like, okay, I did my laundry today. I folded something.
Right. I'm just about got all my laundry put away. Almost. I'm getting there.
You're gonna make me want to have to do my laundry when I get off this call. I need to. So you talked about first, there's a great chance that when you start, like with the one push-up, you're going to do bonus reps because after you meet your small goal, you're going to already have the desire, you already wanted to do the positive behavior. And then the second benefit is the routine. So even if you don't exceed it, you're creating that behavior by at least starting.
Right.
It definitely can apply to our Scentsy businesses, don't you think? Like, I know
Oh,
it's
yeah.
easy.
Like logging in and reading one news article a day.
Yep. Like
Or-
make yourself, I have to check the news tab every single day, and that's all I have to do today if I do nothing else. And he says that the many habits are too small to fail. They lack the common destructive feelings of guilt and inadequacy that comes with failure. And God knows I can relate to that. I can relate to the feeling of failure goals.
Yes. Which triggers my anxiety.
But with doing it like with many habits, you're guaranteed success every single day.
Yeah.
Every day, if you do that one thing, at least.
Yeah, and it needs to be one small, easily accomplished thing.
That's right.
I like in chapter 2 how he starts that chapter out with talking about your brain resisting change unless it's rewarded. And it gives the analogy of the car without power steering.
Oh yeah, I love that. That was so
And
good.
all I can think of is I haven't driven a vehicle with no power steering and having to fight that to get it to.
Yes. I've done that. My husband's grandfather's truck didn't have power.
Oh yeah. And that's crazy. Yeah, the way how much it fights you.
Oh, that was a beast.
Yeah.
Remember that truck? Good way to help with the upper arm strength.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but yeah, like you said, you have to turn the wheel several rotations just to get a small response from the car. But our brains respond if you like the cars without power steering. I can talk.
And then, your brain loves efficiency. That's why the mini habits work. It's quick, it's easy. And that makes sense. If you repeat something that's easy, it learns to automate that, and then it just becomes a habit and you just add more to it.
That's right. And then it goes on to talk about the brain and how it's divided in very simple terms into the basal ganglia and the smart manager. So what's that? The cortex, whatever.
Right. And I'm like, oh, please not a science lesson. But as I started reading it, I'm like, dang, this is actually a good thing, right?
Yeah. Like the basal ganglia is like that muscle memory that you just like, you automatically start backing up your car without even thinking because you're doing it out of habit, or whatever you do. That it's really interesting though. Because we do so much.
It was like pretty cool. Those who have no prefrontal cortex because of whatever damage they have, just do it and don't ask.
Right. I was like, what? That's crazy.
Now, granted, there's other drawbacks there, but still.
Yeah. Just like the example of going to the ice cream shop and ordering your Rocky Road or whatever you always order just because.
Yeah, right.
You didn't even think about if that's what you wanted. That's what you just always get.
Just out of habit. Yeah.
And then that's the part of the brain that doesn't think about things like lung cancer before you start smoking or like liver failure, when you drink, or anything like that. We don't consider the consequences or the perks of great abs before working out, he says. But so it just recognizes and repeats until it's told otherwise by the smart part of the brain. I like how he broke it down so simply in such layman's terms, because I was like, okay, this makes sense to me.
Yeah, it did to me as well. I'm like, oh my gosh.
The DVD player don't work in the living room. Richard got a new DVD player for the kids.
Oh, cool.
He's having a hard time getting it hooked up.
Oh.
So then you get to part 3 where he's like, get rid of your motivation, lose your motivation. I'm like, whoa, how do you know?
Yeah, we're like, wait, what? That's like, it seems like almost like the opposite of what you've always been told in a way. But it makes so much sense because motivation is fleeting. Like that is.
And that quote on the front of chapter 3, emotions will either serve or master depending on who's in charge. Oh my gosh.
That was so good.
It's like, how true is that? If you're high in your emotions and you're having a good day, then it's serving. But if you're having a shitty day or you're feeling bad, man, you're just up the creek.
Right. Exactly.
Emotions take over.
Yeah, like we all do. I mean, it happens for all of us. And so, but if you're, creating the mini habit and letting the willpower push you through instead of motivation, and then you're going to still get it done. Like he says, write 3 chapters a day. If you're not worried about that, my animal sick or somebody cut me off on the freeway today or whatever. Like that's not coming into play. Like I'm writing 3 chapters a day if I'm a writer, and that's what's happening, despite feelings, because that's my habit.
And I read before I actually looked at his graphic on the willpower cost versus motivation level. And I'm like, I'm not getting it. And then when I looked at his graphic, it's like, holy crap, does this make sense? I can be at motivation level 0, but if my willpower's there, I'm still rocking it 100%.
Yeah, I love that chart. That made so much sense. I was like, yeah.
And the vice versa. If your motivation's at 100, you don't have to use any willpower to get anything done. I'm like, this just makes perfect sense. So the happy medium is a 50-50.
It's crazy how it works together.
Yeah.
But he said, if getting motivated is your strategy, then you can't build habits.
Right. Yeah, because you're constantly looking. It's kind of like, I hate to say this, but I kind of liken that to somebody with a drug habit. If motivation is your strategy, you're constantly looking for that next fix.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's unreliable.
That's probably what makes it so hard for them to quit.
Oh yeah. But yeah, if we made, every decision based on our feelings or our depression or like we're hangry or, anything.
Oh, I get hangry.
Yeah, like I get hangry. I'll throw it all out the window. Like
Girl, if I don't get my food.
Yeah, like I'd be making some bad decisions about.
I'm like that
I
commercial.
do anything today. Like, yeah, I'll turn to Joe Pesci. A Snickers bar, or I'm not working my business today.
Right.
It's crazy. I love it. Like he really hits home in a lot of ways.
Right. And he talks about how so many different things can affect motivation. Blood sugar levels, depression, chemical fluctuations, hormones, health, external stimuli, energy levels, your beliefs, and cat vomit. I'm like, oh God, yes, cat vomit, right? There's nothing like cat vomit to start your day off, right?
Yeah, or like waking up and like the dog is peeing on the floor or like something like that. Like just start the whole day off wrong.
Or like at 5 in the morning when you hear the cat gacking, right? I mean, you just know you're waking up to one of those days.
Your cat killed a mouse and you're stepping on it.
Ooh,
like yesterday morning.
So gross. Motivation.
Yeah, George, our kitten. He killed a big old fat one and laid it right on his sock, and Richard stepped on it.
I probably would have went back. I would have taken a shower and gone back to bed and called that day. A day, not today. Satan. But he said motivation is like building a house on water. There's no foundation.
Right. And that's so true, because I can start my day super motivated to get stuff done, have this huge list that I'm going to accomplish, and everything looks easily accomplished. Let one thing go wrong and the whole day is shot. So he's absolutely right on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And he says with the get motivated strategy, you have to not only be motivated to do it, you have to be most motivated to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not like you can,
and eat chips and watch TV and still exercise.
Right. Like it has to be like a really strong motivation to make you exercise, if that's all you're dependent on. Because you're not always going to feel like it. It's hard to summon it on demand. Like you can watch all the awesome videos by like all the SSDs in our group, or like Trent Shelton, or like any person, and it's great. It gives you that energy for a minute. And it's amazing information, but then what are you going to do with it?
It's not long lasting, right?
Yeah, like, it has to be.
You have to make it long lasting.
Yeah, it has to be that willpower.
Yeah, and it's hard to motivate yourself when you're tired, you're sick, you don't feel well, you got a headache, you're just off for whatever reason. Yeah, I mean, this whole chapter was like the whole epiphany turning point of my reading with this one.
I think so too. Like it really all started to make sense and come together for me.
I can't wait to get to chapter 3. Like,
Yeah.
I know y'all are way ahead of me, but
That's okay, because
I'm gonna catch up.
I keep going back and rereading it because I keep getting more stuff from it, honestly. Every time I go back.
Well, just the fact that I went and bought the book immediately after you made that first post, I was like proud of
Right.
myself.
I'm proud of you too. And I love how he started it off like, so this is your first mini habit. You're gonna read at least, I forgot what he said, per day. Like
Last 2 pages every time you open the book. And like I do that every time I open the book. I can't tell you what the last 2 pages say, but I read them.
Right. So like we've already
I think it's like you know, every so many pages. There's only like a few, like I think two or four, somewhere in there. Yeah, 2 pages of this book every day until you finish it.
Mm-hmm.
You said there's no excuses.
Right. It's like you're already doing it. So yeah, he says, so the desired effect of something like exercise, for example, has 3 possible causes. So motivation, willpower, or habit.
Yep.
So it can be either or, but it has to at least be a combination. That's what I'm getting.
Right.
Motivation's great. Like he's like, I'm not knocking it. Like motivation is what probably,
But what are you gonna do with that
motivation?
Right.
Yeah, I kind of took that he wasn't knocking motivation, but he was saying you can't just live and survive and succeed on motivation alone.
Yeah, I get that, because that's how you just fail over and over and over again with the same types of things. Like exercise to me, like just kind of hits home, because how many times have I started, a motivation inspired workout or weight loss thing?
Right.
So many times, and only when I feel like I had like maybe implemented mini habits one time when it really was successful, but it obviously wasn't long term.
Right. Well, even with my weight loss surgery, I mean, it was not a quick fix by no means. Like,
Right.
I still had to work at it today. So it's kind of like with that goes anyway. Because I still have to make a conscious effort of what I put in my body at this point.
Yeah, so you actually
If
probably
that-
have a leg up on like mini habits in a way, because
Right.
you sort of had to, like you figured it out with that.
Yeah. Well, it's still a learning challenge, because I can eat something one day and it agrees with me, and the next day not so much.
Yeah, I get that. And I like how he said, there's no rule that says your feelings and your actions must always match. I was
gonna say the same thing.
That was like, oh yes. That was good. I was like, no kidding. That is so true.
I just do it because I know I need to do it regardless of how I feel. I pick myself up regardless of what's going on, and I just do it.
Yeah. And I know it probably annoys people when people make the comment, she put her head down and worked, and that's what she did. But that's kind of like, I feel like that's what that's getting at. Like, and maybe like, this explains it even more, because like when you say that, I put my head down and worked and that's how I got this goal, people are like, well, how though? Because that's not helping me, but like that actually explains, I think, how that works. Like I've kind of powered through my feelings and I still did it.
Right.
Yeah. But
and as behavior begins to transition to habit, you'll become less emotional about it. Yeah. I kind of think about that when it's I hate doing this task, but the more I do it, it just becomes a mundane task, and I just do it and get it over with and move on.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, and he talks about how motivation sets us up for failure through the law of decreasing enthusiasm.
Yes, the pizza analogy. And I'm thinking, yep, after that 5th slice, you're rolling around an hour later. I shouldn't have had it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think I learned this in the accelerated leadership class, but she said that, because I'm guilty of this, over planning for something is also just another form of procrastination. Like by actually setting up your plan to do whatever it is you're going to do. Like, because I made this whole plan, I made all these notes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another form of procrastination if you don't put it into action. At some point, the action has to come.
And that way, I think that one of the podcasts in that series that I'm listening to, he talks about that too, that you can overthink it. And overthinking it just makes it that much more of, it takes it away from being a mini tiny habit.
Right.
It's not a tiny thing anymore. It's now
Because
a
the
big
more
deal.
you think about it, the less like you're going to actually do it. You're
Right.
just sitting there thinking about it, like how much work is involved. Like, am I going to actually achieve it?
Yeah, and kind of like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing goes into
Yeah.
effect there. Like, 'cause if you give yourself enough time to talk yourself out of it, like you have to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go for it. You have to do it.
You just got to take that jump.
Mm-hmm. And like Kimmy was saying, like as the behavior becomes to transition into a habit, you become less emotional about it. So it's like you don't hate it as much. You're just doing it's a mundane thing. Like you go ahead and do it and get it over with because you know the end result you're working towards. And then so it's less resistant, and it just happens more automatically, just like Kimmy said. The fact that habitual behavior doesn't stir up strong emotions works towards an advantage for us because we're not fighting against it. He said, I'm not asking you to never feel again, just asking to never let feelings stop you again. And I was like, okay, I hear you. Oh, and unlike motivation, willpower can actually be strengthened like a muscle. That's pretty cool.
Wow,
This is a really good book.
Willpower is the best strategy. Most people don't know how to use it and will drain their willpower reserves quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he does all that, he tells you he's going to tell you how to get more motivation. That was so cute. I'm like, really?
Like, stay with me there.
But he's got a point there because you do hear things like motivation is what's going to get you where you need to be. You got to be self-motivated. You got to do this. Mm-hmm. And it will get you somewhere, but it's not going to keep you there unless you stay motivated. Whereas willpower and many habits, you're building that base. I like that.
Yeah.
Willpower is reliable, it can be strengthened, and it can be scheduled. Those 3 statements right there sold me on willpower, right?
Yeah. Reliable, can be strengthened, and can be scheduled. That's exactly right. Good. And he says that motivation isn't reliable, so it can't be the strategy for building the habits. So it's kind of like saying, I'm going to wing in my Cincy business. I don't have a system, like
right.
Like I know that I've said that before, and some days I still do that, but ultimately you do have a system. Like
I think we all do that on some days.
Yeah, but I just couldn't say that that's the way I'm gonna get to XYZ.
Straight up, be honest. For past 3 months, that's kind of what I've been doing, winging it.
Yeah, and we all have those times. I know that I still do. And there's still something to be said for still showing up in those times. Like because when you're going hard times, showing up is the most important thing. And you're doing that. So, and I know that's hard.
It's getting better, but
yeah,
we're starting to find a new normal. But there are times where it's still a struggle.
Yeah. So chapter 4, when we go through that, that's kind of how everything kind of fits together. how many habits fit everything that's been covered so far. Said the summary of part 3, he says new or non-habit behaviors are started by using motivation or willpower. And then motivation isn't reliable, so it can't be the strategy for building habits. Willpower is reliable, but only if you don't run out of it. There are 5 main causes of willpower depletion: effort, perceived difficulty, negative effect, subjective fatigue, and blood glucose levels. If we can successfully overcome these 5 hurdles, we should find success. So
Yeah, I think that it was like those first 3 chapters, once you got past the first one, which was kind of, and then after I finished the third one, I thought about it and I'm like, okay, so the first one was kind of like looking at the universe from the outer perspective. The second one started to narrow us down a little bit, and the third one pulled us in. Now the fourth one, we're just going to tear it all up apart.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, so I can't wait to get further in. I really like, I guess it was in chapter 2 when he talked about the brain, when he said that figuring the whole thing out for himself, like how he was gonna figure the whole exercise thing out. He took something he had read before. I forgot who the author was, but he said, think about, I want to work out for 30 minutes a day, and think about the exact opposite of that.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's creative.
It was like, instead of thinking about the long-term effect, you know, 1 push-up a day is not going to make me gain biceps like, you know, crazy. But if I think about the opposite of that, they're also not going to be, I'm not going to be looking like Popeye with the big muscles, but I'm also not going to be looking like Olive Oil with the little doopy.
Right. Like, exactly. So I thought that was really cool. And so I really was like thinking about that in terms of our businesses. And like we said, it was like, what's the exact opposite of like selling 1,000 PRV a day or something crazy, you know, some huge goal.
Right.
We'd all love to have one day. Exact opposite would be like, I guess you could say like just sitting on your couch and thinking people are going to order from you PWS without you doing a thing.
Exactly.
Like, on another, like getting more creative with it, and actually put some action in there is reading the news tab every single day. Because if you're doing that every single day, you are going to post that Stitch is coming out Monday. You know,
or that the bunny's coming out, Rosie's coming out on Monday, or that there's a second chance pre-sale on PUA, or, you know, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It could also be, and I saw it this evening, it could also be the whole, oh, I saw the February Winners to the Wellness Challenge. Yeah, I remember seeing that email. Let me go back, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to jog you.
Yeah. Definitely. So I'm really digging it so far. And I think I'll post this recording just to see, like if there's anybody else who just tried to start the book and just was like, I just can't do this. Maybe if they kind of hear our feedback, they'll jump in and come on next week or whenever we do the next one.
Because the first chapter is rough. The second chapter is easier, and the third chapter, by then you're cruising.
Yeah. So I think 4, 5, and 6 are just going to get really, really good.
Yeah.
We're actually going to make our plans after that or during this.
I'll try to catch up on the next meet.
Yeah. We'll just probably do like maybe just like 4 and 5.
That sounds good.
Yeah. That way, and then we can save 6 for the last one because that's kind of longer, and we can sort of do an overview.
That'll work.
Whatever you guys think. So it'll only take weeks to go through it.
So what chapters are we going to get to?
We can do. So if we can go through like 4 and 5 next week, maybe at this time.
Okay.
And then there's only 6 left, but that one's a little longer. So we can do
6
that.
and 7. 7's a short one.
7, that's right. Yeah. 6
it's actually
7's a short one.
Yeah.
I think 7's kind of like a wrap up.
Yeah. Yeah, it does looks like that.
And I'm just going to be honest, I'm really bad when I get a book. I'll read the first chapter, the last chapter, and then I read what's in the middle.
Yeah, you're like, am I going to like this? Let's find out.
I read the beginning, the end, and then I need to know what happens in the middle.
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times.
I have too.
So you guys have any more thoughts or anything you want to?
No, I think that's all I had, because it was like the first chapter was rough, but from there on it was much easier to read.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for bearing with me and going through this with me, because I feel like it's going to help us. I really do.
I think so. And it's like
tiny
little mini habits.
Yeah, I feel like it's already
It's already helped me.
Yeah, definitely. It's got us thinking differently anyway, I think. So I'm excited. Well, I'll go ahead and stop the recording.